You buy a second solar panel because your power station charges too slowly. The watts look fine, the cable fits. You plug it in, angle it toward the sun, and the station starts pulling power. Looks right, feels right, nothing trips, nothing sparks. But somewhere inside that unit, a number just crossed a line it was never supposed to cross. Watts charge the battery. Voltage can kill the input. Those are two completely different measurements, and only one of them was printed on the panel you just connected. So what was the number you were actually supposed to check first? That number is your power station's maximum PV input voltage. Find it before you touch a single panel calculation. Here is where people go wrong. They open the spec sheet and go straight to the solar charging wattage. 400 watts, 600 watts, whatever the marketing team put on the box. That number tells you how fast the station can charge under ideal conditions. It tells you nothing about what voltage the input circuitry can survive. The component doing the actual work is the MPPT charge controller. MPPT stands for Maximum Power Point Tracking. It is the circuit that converts incoming solar voltage into usable charging current for the battery. Every MPPT controller is engineered to operate within a specific voltage window, a floor and a ceiling. Below the floor, it cannot lock on. Above the ceiling, you are pushing electricity through circuits that were never rated for it. That ceiling is what you need to find. Manufacturers label it differently depending on the manual. PV input range, DC input voltage, MPPT input voltage, maximum open circuit voltage, solar charging input. Different names, same measurement. It is the hard upper limit your panels must stay under. Here is the problem with trusting wattage instead. A station rated for 600 watts of solar input will accept that power, but only if the voltage stays inside the window. You can feed it 400 watts and still blow the input if your panel voltage runs too high. Wattage does not protect the controller. Voltage limits do, so before wattage, before connectors, before anything else, find that number. So now you have that voltage ceiling. Here is how people blow right past it without realizing it. The scenario is straightforward. You bought one panel, charging felt slow, so you added a second. Logical. More panels, more watts, faster recovery. That is the thinking, and on the surface it sounds completely reasonable. But here is the trap. When you wire two panels in series, meaning you chain the positive terminal of one into the negative of the other, you do not add current, you add voltage. Two 40-volt panels wired in series do not give you 40 volts with more current behind it. They give you 80 volts. Your wattage math might look fine, but your voltage just doubled. Most portable power stations have an MPPT ceiling somewhere between 60 and 150 volts depending on the unit. One panel at 40 volts is safe. Two panels in series at 80 volts might already be over the limit. Three panels pushes you past 120 volts. That is not a marginal overage. That is circuit-killing territory. Now here is the part that catches people off guard. The connectors fit. The adapter slides in. Everything looks compatible. But connector compatibility is not electrical compatibility. The socket does not know what voltage is coming through it. The MPPT controller does. And if that voltage is above the ceiling, the controller absorbs the damage whether the plug locked in cleanly or not. There is one more layer to this. The voltage number you just used in that series math, that may not even be the right number to use. What you pull off the panel spec sheet, and what your panels actually push into that connector under real conditions, can be two different figures entirely. That figure you pulled off the spec sheet, the wattage, the operating voltage, the connector type, none of those are the number that matters here. The number is VOC. Open circuit voltage. Here is what that means. When a solar panel is exposed to sunlight but not connected to a load, it does not just sit idle. It generates its maximum possible voltage. That is VOC. No current is flowing, no work is being done, and the voltage is at its peak. The moment you connect it to your power station, voltage drops slightly to the operating point, which is called VMP. But before that load kicks in, during connection, during startup, during any momentary drop in draw, the panel pushes VOC into your input port. VOC is printed on the panel label and listed on the datasheet. VMP is typically 10 to 15% lower. Most people grab VMP because it represents real-world charging. That is the wrong instinct for safety calculations. Here is the rule. When you are checking whether your panel setup is safe, add the VOC values together for every panel in your series string. That total is what your power station's MPPT controller may actually see. Compare that number against the station's maximum PV input voltage, not the wattage ceiling, not the connector rating. The voltage ceiling, two panels with a VMP of 38 volts each, look like 76 volts in series. Reasonable. But if their volc is 46 volts each, your actual input voltage can hit 92 volts before the system stabilizes. That is a completely different calculation, and for a lot of units, it is a calculation that puts you over the limit. Now here is where that calculation gets more dangerous. Because volc is not a fixed number. It moves. And the direction it moves in real conditions is exactly the wrong direction for anyone trying to stay under a voltage ceiling. Solar panels produce higher voltage as temperature drops. That is not a malfunction. That is how photovoltaic cells behave. Cold, clear mornings are not your friend here. They are the worst-case scenario. A panel that measured 1 volt at the factory under controlled test conditions will push a noticeably higher voltage on a bright January morning when the cells are sitting at near freezing temperatures. Datasheets document this with a temperature coefficient for volc, typically expressed as a percentage change per degree Celsius below the standard test temperature of 25 degrees. The colder the panel, the higher the volc climbs. For many panels, that shift is small enough to ignore individually, but across a series string of 2 or 3 panels it stacks. A setup that looked like it cleared the voltage ceiling by a narrow margin may already be over it. Before the sun is fully up, the timing makes it worse. At dawn, your power station is freshly connected. The battery may still be at a low state of charge and not yet drawing significant current. That means the MPPT input is seeing something close to open circuit voltage for longer than you expect. The array is cold, the voltage is at its peak, and the input stage absorbs all of it. This is the failure condition nobody pictures when they do their math at a desk. They check wattage, they check volc at standard test conditions, they see they are just under the limit, and they call it done. But the actual peak voltage the station sees happens on a cold, sunny morning, not in a lab. Let me make this concrete. Take a power station with a 60-volt maximum solar input, common spec, nothing exotic. Now you buy 2 panels, each with a volc of around 24 volts. You wire them in series, total volc 48 volts. You are 12 volts under the ceiling. That feels safe. Here is the problem. You check those numbers at standard test conditions, 25 degrees Celsius. Drop the cell temperature to near freezing, which happens on any clear winter morning, and each panel's volc climbs. A modest temperature coefficient means each panel might push 27 volts or higher in the cold. 2 panels in series now put you at 54 volts or more. Your comfortable 12-volt margin just shrank to 6 or less, and you have not even accounted for manufacturing tolerance. Now add a third panel to that string. At room temperature, 3 times 24 volts is 72 volts. That already blows past the 60-volt limit before cold weather adds anything. Yet the wattage looks reasonable. 3 panels at roughly 200 watts each gives you a 600-watt array. People see that number and assume it is fine. It is not fine. The power station does not care about watts at the input stage. It cares about volts. That is the part people consistently miss. A 400-watt array wired in series with the wrong voltage profile is more dangerous to your input circuit than a 600-watt array wired to stay within the voltage window. Wattage does not protect you. Configuration does. The mistake is not obvious. That is exactly why it keeps happening. Now, some people hear all of this and ask a reasonable question. What if I just add more panels for more power but stay aware of the wattage limit? That thinking conflates 2 different problems. And it matters that you understand why they are not equivalent. Current and wattage over paneling is a real issue, but most modern MPPT controllers handle it through a process called clipping. When your array produces more current than the controller can use, it simply pulls the operating point away from peak power. You lose some harvest efficiency. You do not necessarily damage anything. The controller is designed with that ceiling in mind, and it manages excess current within its normal operating behavior. Voltage does not work that way. The maximum input voltage is not a charging preference. It is a hard electrical limit on the component sitting right at the front of the input stage. Exceed it, and you are not asking the controller to work harder. You are applying stress directly to input capacitors, protection diodes, and the MOSFETs that form the MPPT front end before any intelligent control logic has a chance to respond. Those components are rated to a threshold. Past that threshold, The degradation can be immediate or cumulative, and neither shows up on a display. Will every overvoltage event destroy your unit on the spot? Not always. Some stations include protection circuits that cut off charging when voltage spikes above the limit, but that protection exists to prevent catastrophic failure, not to give you operating room above the spec. Relying on a protection cutoff as a buffer is like assuming your circuit breaker is a substitute for correct wiring. It might save you once. It is not a strategy. Here is what that means heading into any purchase decision. Current headroom is something you can sometimes work with. Voltage is the line you simply do not cross. So here is the line you do not cross. And here is exactly how you know where it is before anything gets plugged in. Start with your power station's maximum PV input voltage. That number is in the spec sheet, not the marketing summary. Write it down. Next, find the open circuit voltage, the VOC, printed on every panel you plan to use. That is the voltage the panel produces with no load attached, which is exactly what it produces the moment you connect it before the controller starts drawing current. If you are wiring panels in series, add those VOC numbers together. 2 panels at 48 volts each gives you a string VOC of 96 volts. 3 gives you 144. That math is not flexible. Now apply the cold weather correction. Panel voltage rises as temperature drops, 3% per degree Celsius. If your region sees cold mornings, run the correction. If you want a faster check, add a conservative 25% buffer on top of your calculated string VOC and compare that figure against the station limit. If it clears the limit with room to spare, you are in a reasonable range. If it does not, you have 3 options. Fewer panels in series, a parallel configuration within the station's current rating, or panels and a station that are spec matched from the start. What you do not do is test it and see. The connector fitting is not confirmation. The unit powering on is not confirmation. The only confirmation that matters is the cold VOC math staying below the station's maximum input voltage before a single panel is ever connected. Here is the sequence one more time, clean and final. Series wiring multiplies voltage. VOC is always higher than operating voltage. Cold weather pushes VOC higher still. And when that combined figure crosses your station's maximum PV input limit, the MPPT input takes the damage. One rule prevents all of it. Calculate your cold weather string VOC before you buy and before you connect. If that number does not clear the station's maximum input voltage with margin, the setup is wrong before it starts. Pull your panel label and your station manual right now. Check the VOC, check the input limit, run the cold correction, then come back and drop your numbers in the comments. And if this video saved you from a costly mistake, subscribe so you do not miss the next one. Watts charge the battery. Voltage can kill the input,